On episode 185 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we're going to discuss the enemies of health and fitness. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/185. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Before we get started, I wanted to encourage you to join us on the book club. You can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/group, and that'll take you to our Facebook group. You join the Facebook group, and you can join us in a discussion about a book where I have an interview scheduled. The first book we're going to have in the book club is called Forever Painless by Miranda Esconde-White. And I'm due to interview her later in December, so I do hope that you'll come join us, either read the book or, as I'm going to, consume it via audiobook. Join the discussion, and if you have any questions after reading the book that you would like for me to ask Miranda, I'll be glad to do that as a part of the interview. So again, go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/group, join our Facebook group, and join the discussion as a part of our book club. Thank you. So today is another mindset episode where I wanted to take some time to talk about some of the enemies that are out there that prevent us from maximizing our health and fitness, and give you maybe a couple strategies for how to deal with some of these enemies. And what do I mean by enemies? Well, it's not that they're all our enemies, because some of them are actually pretty close to us, and some of them we care about a great deal. But they're just things that will trip us up if we're not cognizant of what's going on and have some strategy to help us get around it. So I'm going to share these 11 enemies of health and fitness with you today, and then we'll just kind of go through the strategies. So the first one are what I call happy miserables. And unfortunately, I do have a few of these in family members where they just always seem to be looking at the negative aspects of life, and seldom are very joyous or don't seem to be very joyous. And it almost to the point of me saying that I think they're happier being miserable than they would be if things were going well, because they're just not going to find that joy. And unfortunately, if you're someone who does really like joy and wants good things in your life, a lot of times having these happy miserables in your life, they really can bring you down. They really can be a problem for you in that they're going to add additional stress to your life. And unfortunately, we're going to have that. I don't know anyone that has a family that wouldn't say, okay, there's a couple of those folks that really just do kind of add a little bit more stress than joy at times. And unfortunately, we have to have those individuals in our lives. There's nothing else we can really do to prevent that. So a couple strategies that I think you should take in mind when dealing with happy miserables is that this is their opinion or their paradigm of their life, not their view of your life or your view of their life. This is something that's solely unique to them. And nothing you can physically do, nothing you can mentally do, can really change the way they're going to perceive the world. They've already got their mind view in place. So if it's something that you can't change, then going back to the serenity prayer, it's something that you just need to let go. And I'm not saying necessarily let go of the person, but just recognize that the negativity and the things that are coming out of them don't have to be something that you allow to impact you. It's not something you can fix, so it's just something you should generally just let go of. And I know that's easier said than done, but doing some meditation or prayer, if that's the way you want to kind of go through this process of just examining what's going on in those relationships and how this is their perception of their lives, and it's not something that you really have any input or ability to change. And so letting it go is really your only option, unless you want to let those individuals go from your life. The second enemy that I'll put forward is kind of the drinking buddy. And it might not just be the drinking buddy, but that's kind of the best verb, or I guess the best image that I can give of it is it's that individual that just seems to want to go out, do the bad food, they're kind of that influence on you that, they're always kind of take you to the wrong restaurants or try to get you to, join them in their lower lifestyle and things they're doing to themselves, getting others involved in that activity. And so, obviously you want to have a social life, you want to be friends with people, but when you've got those friends that are really kind of pushing you away from your health and fitness journey, and this is something that you're really dedicated to doing, it's worth kind of distancing yourself from them a little bit. And what I mean by that is you don't have to go out with them every time. You don't have to indulge every time. Looking for ways that you can go out and be a part of that socially without the bad food, without the alcohol, for example, with the drinking buddies. And so saying, okay, I know that I'm going to go out with my buddies. I know my buddies are going to want to eat the bad food at the Buffalo Wild Wings. I want to go and hang out with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat a nice, clean dinner before I go. So when I get there, I'm not tempted by the food because I'm not hungry. So I can stay away from the food. Now, the alcohol will just be something that I'll have to manage. And maybe what I do is I make a deal with myself and say, okay, I can have a glass of wine and then I need to drink a large water. So I have them bring me the water and the wine. And I literally sit there and make sure that I'm drinking one big glass of water between each of those glasses of wine. And literally that will slow me down to where maybe I'll now only have 2 or 3 glasses of wine throughout the night. But I still have a good time hanging out with my friends, watching the game, enjoying myself. And they're none the wiser to not know that I'm, not doing that. Now, I also have friends that will yell shot, shot, shots, and that goes on. I have always told my friends I don't do shots. And I've consistently applied that message on and on and on because I don't see the benefit for me to take shots. It doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't improve my life. So I always avoid that. And that's something that, having kind of put my foot down at the beginning, is very easy for me to stick with going long term. And so if you haven't already kind of put your foot down, maybe it's worth putting your foot down and having that message as a go forward if you don't want to indulge at all. But if you are willing to indulge, put together some form of strategy that's going to allow you to do the less amount of damage as you go forward with this. The third enemy I want to add is, and this is happening a lot during the holiday season here in North America, is the potluck planners. And so, this is when everybody's going to bring their own food products to either work or to someone's home. So everybody's making food. And unfortunately, you start looking down the list of those foods, and such is bringing a pie, such and such is bringing a cake or cupcake, someone's bringing cookies, when you start really looking down all those foods, there really aren't healthy choices. So one of the strategies that I would take forward in this is bring a dish that is generally healthy. They don't have to know that it's healthy the way you've prepared it. And then bring a couple other little side dishes as well, so that you have a little bit of selection and don't have to just eat your food that you brought, that one little dish that you brought. Maybe bring some things that based on what you see all the others are bringing on their list. If none of that seems to be something that you want to eat, then don't eat it. Bring some substitutes for yourself. Sit down and prepare your plate. Have that all out for everybody. They may not eat it because there's so many bad things for them to choose above what you've brought. But at least it's there. You can eat it, enjoy it, and be a part of the party. Okay? Number 4 is the school fundraisers. And man, it just seems like every day I go to work and there's a box of candies or chocolate bars or this or that used as a way to raise money for one of the local schools. And, they're there. They're on the counter in the break room every single day. So, if you don't want to consume those things, you need to have a strategy to stay away from them. So having good snacks, healthy snacks in your desk, like, some nuts, maybe a little bit of dried fruit here and there, some other healthy snacks that you can eat in place of those things is going to give you that option. So you're not going into the break room a little hungry. And if you are a little hungry, maybe avoiding the break room until you had an opportunity to eat a meal will help. And so just kind of understanding and knowing it's going to be in there. It's going to be in there practically every day. So either avoidance by not going in there at all, or at least giving yourself some of that by eating and making sure that at least you're taking care of your hunger hormones so that you're not going in there and just going to binge, grab a couple chocolate bars and go to town. So again, making sure that you understand how you deal with that temptation, what that temptation is going to mean to you, and then you go forward. And here's the other side of it. If you really want to help the charity, you want to help out the school that they're doing the fundraising for, heck, drop $1 in there, and then don't take the goodies. I mean, that's not a problem. You're still helping the deal. You're just not necessarily eating the bad food. So recognize who you are and how your particular nature works when you have these temptations around, and then come up with that strategy that works best for you. Okay, number 5 is the competitor. And so this is typically for folks that are out either running, maybe as a part of a run club, or you go to the gym and you're working out, and there's just people there that seem to want to compete with you. And you'll see it if you're on a treadmill. Someone might be looking over to see how many steps per minute you're doing, or they might be looking to see what your pace is. They might increase their pace to be a little bit faster than you, and you just sort of get this feeling that people are there wanting to be competitive, and then now they're kind of pushing that on you, and you're there. And if you have a plan, and I've told you this before, I'll go into the gym knowing exactly what I'm there to do. And that's all I'm going to do is that. And so if I have a plan, I really don't need to be pushing myself harder than that plan requires. I need to be doing exactly what I went in there to do. So for me, it's very easy to kind of just let them compete and let them, in their mind, win. For me, the win is getting in the good workout at the amount of work that I needed it to be. That's my win. And so not overtraining it, not undertraining it, but going in there with a plan and delivering on that plan is really where I feel comfortable, where I've done the right thing for myself. So just don't let those folks that want to compete with you push you a little bit harder than you need to be pushed. Unless it's a day that you're ready to do something like that, then by all means kick their ass. But for most of the point when you're doing training, you have a plan, you have something that you're going to be doing. So just do it. Just do it. Don't feel like you have to compete with them just because they're there trying to compete with you. Okay, number 6 is the loiterers. And these are the ones that you see in the gym, and they're sitting on a piece of equipment that you want to be using, and they're texting, maybe between their sets, and they don't realize that they're sitting there for 2 or 3 minutes between every set, and in reality, they're going to end up spending 10, 15 minutes on that piece of equipment, and you're not going to get an opportunity to use it unless you get a little bit more direct. And if you notice that there's someone that's doing that, well, step up there and ask, can I work in? Can I do my sets while you're off your sets? And most people will allow you to do that. There'll be a few that'll say no, or they'll have some reason to say, I only have 1 or 2 more to do. But stand there and make sure they get them done. And if they're going to sit there and start texting, go back to your original question. Can I work in between you? And don't be afraid. You paid your membership, and you deserve to be on that equipment just as much as they do. And if they're just going to sit on the equipment texting, not doing the work, it's time to go ahead and be a little bit more direct and get yourself in there, because your time not working is your time, and you deserve to be on that equipment just as much as they do. So you may have to be a little bit more direct if you notice those loiterers that are taking up the space and not adding value to your workout. Okay, number 7 is the folks that go to the gym sick and push through. And you'll see this all the time. Someone will be sitting there on the treadmill just almost hacking up a lung. They shouldn't be out working out, but they believe that they can't miss a workout, and they've been told it's okay to work out when you have a cold. And I'll tell you, it is. Typically, if you don't have a fever, it's okay for you to work out. The problem is when you go to the gym to do that, you're putting yourself in front of other people, and you're on a piece of equipment that other people are going to then touch. And so the likelihood that you're going to be getting other people sick has gone up exponentially. So if you want to work out and you're feeling a little sick, a little bit of sinus stuff, nasally, cold stuff, without a fever, and you feel like you can do a workout, do it at home. Do a body weight workout, have some equipment at home, or if you want to go out for a run or do something like that, do that. But don't expose other people to your illness. And if you notice that someone else is in the gym and they're hacking up, you make some distance for yourself. You don't want to get sick, and you don't want to be in a situation where your health and fitness is derided because someone else made a decision to show up in the gym. just go ahead and call it. Move to a different spot in the gym, find something else to do. Or like I said, they're sick, so go home and do your workout there. But don't let them get you sick just because they've decided to ignore the fact that they're exposing you by coming into the gym. And don't be one of those people either. If you're sick, don't go to the gym. Okay? And then number 8 is the bad personal trainer. And I see them out there occasionally. They don't have the training. They don't have the certifications. They've been training people for a while. And so they have no problem going out there and having an opinion, but I see them doing things that can hurt people. And, a bad personal trainer is going to have you learning things the wrong way. If they're not correcting your form, if they're not helping you do the exercises right or do the right amount of exercises and giving you just that little bit of extra push, not kill it pushing, yelling at you, getting you to go through a threshold that you shouldn't be going through. A good personal trainer is going to listen to what your goals are. They're going to listen to what you want, and then they're going to provide a program that in a safe and effective way gets you to your goals. So if you are looking for a personal trainer, ask around, because most people that have worked with the personal trainers, they know if they like their personal trainer. They know if their personal trainer is getting them results. And if their personal trainer is that kind of trainer, that's the kind of trainer you want. If you go into a big box gym and they just have a trainer and they assign them to you, and that trainer is talking more than they're listening to you, you've got a problem. You need to have a personal trainer that listens to what you want and then again helps you reach your goals in a safe and effective way. So number 9 are the well-meaning friends and family. And what I mean by this is you've started a new eating plan. And maybe you've decided that you're going to go low carb, high fat because you've heard that that's a very effective way to lose weight. And I'll say it is if you do it right. Well, your friends don't understand why you're eating butter and you're eating some meats and you're eating cheeses. And they're like, well, that's not healthy. You're gonna get a heart attack. And so they're trying to convince you to eat the way that they eat. Or at least eat the way that they've been taught by the media and by the government that is the healthy way to eat. And that's the, eat low fat, eat all these carbs, be it the complex carbs, the whole wheat bread and all the other things. But what they don't understand is that you may have the same blood sugar reaction to that whole wheat piece of bread that you had to a white piece of bread. And so, they're well-meaning, they have their way, they're going to tell you what they think, and that's great. That they can have their opinion, but you have to make the choices for yourself on what your health and fitness path looks like. And once you've made that decision, don't let them push you off of it until maybe what you're trying isn't working. Maybe that kind of eating plan really isn't working for you and you need to do something different, but don't let them be the reason you quit. And they're not doing it to make you quit. They're doing it because they believe it's the right thing. So again, make sure that if you're being pushed by well-meaning friends and family, that you understand where that's coming from, their belief system. If your belief system's different, stick to your beliefs, stick to what you want to do, and then get the results that you're after. So again, they don't mean to hurt. They just, when they're going by what they've read in headlines, they're going by what they've heard, meat causes cancer and all this other stuff that's out there that are headlines, but aren't the real facts on how your body needs to fuel and build and grow. And so find your health and fitness path, stick to it, and don't let others push you off of it. Okay, number 10 is the backstabbers. And these are the folks that actually do want you to fail. And there's a few of them out there for most of us. They see you doing well, and they're unhappy about it. They are not seeing the same results. So obviously you're doing something wrong. You're cheating or something's going on. So they're going to kind of put these little nips in there. They're going to be constantly kind of doing things to kind of make it difficult or more difficult for you. And if you have these kind of people in your life, these are the ones that you need to jettison. The well-meaning family and friends, and maybe even the happy miserables, those are people that you can accept into your life and figure out a strategy around. But if someone's truly trying to derail you on your health and fitness, that's just somebody you don't need. You just don't need them. So those are the folks that you pretty much probably need to say, okay, we're going to spend a lot less time together because I've got something I'm trying to do here, and I really don't need you derailing me. I've got to get this done for myself. And then number 11 are the non-participants at home. And I hear this a lot, really all the time. I want to do this for myself, but my spouse and my kids won't eat the way I eat. And that makes it impossible for me because I don't want to prepare two meals just so my family has what they need and want, and I have what I need and want. I don't have time to prepare two meals. And I do hear this all the time, and I understand it that, sometimes when family members don't want to change, they're comfortable in their ways, they can kind of set themselves in a way that seems obstructionist to what you're trying to accomplish. But I want you to take that just a half a step back and kind of think about this. Now, in most families, when we sit down to eat, yes, there's food that you really don't want to eat, but for the most part, you should be preparing generally healthy meals for your family. And in doing so, my guess is that most of us will prepare a meat, and then we'll prepare some vegetables. And, then again, most families, if they're not watching their weight, if they're just eating the way they want to eat, the American way, there's some starches and carbs out there that they really, probably shouldn't be eating. So if you prepared a really nice meal with a well-cooked meat, and then you made a couple of generally well-done vegetables that you would focus on, so some broccoli, some cauliflower, some things like that, and then on the side, you've got some cheese. So they can drizzle the cheese sauce all over their Velveeta. They can drizzle it all over their broccoli and have broccoli and cheese. And maybe you go ahead and you make some macaroni for them, and then now they can drizzle the cheese over the macaroni. And the kids will sit down and eat that. They'll eat the meat, they'll eat the broccoli, they'll eat the macaroni. And it's not the meal you want, but you're eating your steamed broccoli and maybe another vegetable, a salad or something, and you're eating your meat. And so for your whole family, there's a pick and choose. And the reality is the preparation time for that meal really isn't much different. And if it is, then some things you can do, some strategies you can do to make the meal easier to prepare is maybe you've grilled all that chicken over the weekend. Maybe you've grilled the meat over the weekend. And so coming in, you've got these batches of food that are prepared, and you just pull out the meat, warm it up while you're steaming the vegetables and melting the Velveeta and cooking the macaroni. And 10, 15 minutes in, you've got a fully prepared meal for your family that really didn't break the bank from a perspective of cost, because again, none of the food was that cost ineffective. And it's not like you're prepping two meals for two different people. You're just prepping it in a way that is designed around the way your family wants to eat. So the kids get what they want, the rolls, the bread, the macaroni, the cheese, all that stuff, and you get what you want because you've prepared the meal in a strategic way that helps you kind of work around that. Okay, so that's the 11 enemies, and let's just go back and kind of do a quick little recap. Number 1 is the happy miserable, and a happy miserable is kind of one of those people, like I said, their paradigm or their perception of their world is a much more negative place than the way you see it. Realizing that you can't change that, you just need to let that go. Take the serenity prayer to heart and understand that that's something you cannot change, and therefore you just need to let it go. Number 2 is your drinking buddies, and you're going to have these friends that are out there that want to have fun with. You enjoy your time with them, but their lifestyle and the way that they want to lead this is going to kind of take you down a different path that you don't really want to be on. And so sometimes you have to say no, and sometimes you just have to have strategies around how you manage those times when you're with those kind of people. So think about how you're approaching that, and then you can have these people in your life, and it's just a part of how you live. The next is the potluck planners. And again, if you see the potluck planners and they're putting this all together, understand what they're doing, understand what food's coming, make some choices for yourself, and then you can still be a part of the party without indulging the way that you don't need to. Next is the school fundraisers. Again, if you know those things are going to be in the break room, for the schools, the candies, the crap, then make sure you stay away from it, or you make sure that you have a strategy for not having to indulge, knowing yourself and knowing how that works. And then there's the competitors. Number 5 is competitors. And these are the folks that you'll see that'll just be pushing you a little bit harder than you need to be pushed. And when you kind of sense that's happening, well, just let them win. You're going to win by getting the workout that you need to have. Let them win by getting what they need to have. Okay, next is the loiterers. And again, if they're in the gym and they're taking up the equipment and you need to get your workout in, you may have to be a little bit more direct to push yourself through, get on the equipment you need to be on. Okay, number 7 is the sick but pushing through people. And if you're sick, don't go to the gym. Don't expose other people. At the same time, when you see someone else is sick, move yourself away from that. You don't want to be getting sick during this period of time because that may derail you slightly from getting what you need on your health and fitness journey. Okay, next is the bad personal trainer. So if you're going to look for a personal trainer, ask around, find out what people are doing, who they're using, who they like, who they may not like. And if your personal trainer is not listening to you and not helping you meet your goals, you need to find another personal trainer. Number 9 is the well-meaning friends and family. And again, these folks want the best for you. They don't understand the approach you're taking because it doesn't fit the headlines that they've been reading. It doesn't fit what they understand as healthy. And so therefore, they're going to be kind of giving you this advice that they're pushing from what they know. And if you know better for yourself, then thank them for their input and then go on and do what you need to do for you. Number 10 is the backstabber, and that's the individual that truly does want you to fail. They're not doing it from a well-meaning place. They're doing it because they want you to stay where you are. They like the status quo of how things are, and they don't want you to have something that they maybe can't have for themselves or feel they can't have for themselves. So the best thing they can do is to pull you down. And I may share a story with you at some point in the future about this mindset. There's an experiment that they do with monkeys. And so I think in a future podcast, I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail because that monkey experiment was really, really interesting, how it worked. And I want to share that with you, but I don't have time today to do that, but I will do that in the future. And then the last one are the non-participants at home. And realize, again, you have people in your life that are comfortable with the life they have. They don't necessarily want to change. They like the foods they like, and they want them the way they want them. And they're not necessarily going to adapt to you just because you've changed the way you're eating or the way you're working out. They don't want to change their lifestyle. And so if you can come up with strategies that allow you to continue your lifestyle the way you want it, and then adapt it in a way that allows them to have their lifestyle, and you've joined that in a way that makes sense. And I gave you the example of the food prep and having those meals that are kind of the co-joined meals where there's healthy selections and then there's the unhealthy add-ons that are there. You can still manage to have the meals that you want and the meals they want. Just you have to strategically prepare and plan for that to make sure that that's happening. So you both get what you want. And no one, they may not even be the wiser other than just look over at your plate and realize you didn't put any cheese on your broccoli and you're not eating any of the bread or the macaroni. But you're perfectly fine with that. You've prepped the meal they'll enjoy, and you've prepped a meal that you've enjoyed. And it wasn't a whole lot of extra work. If you enjoyed this podcast, would you please do me a favor and share it with someone, either directly with a friend or family or through Facebook? It really does help me get the word out about this podcast. It helps people find the podcast. And it'll just allows us to do more for more people. So please do share this podcast. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we're going to celebrate 1 year of 40 Plus Fitness. Yes, it was December 7th of last year that I launched this podcast with episode number 1. And at 1 year, I wanted to take a break and thank you for all that you've done. Some things that I've learned this year that maybe coming into this, I really didn't know about health and fitness. And just some changes that I'll be making over the course of the next year so I can better serve you. So please do join us next time on 40 Plus Fitness Podcast. And until then, have a happy and healthy day.